Gotta swap these real quick. Little Christmas gift here from Brittany. Thank you for that, babe. What's going on, guys? Human Car Jack here, and today we have a very special video. This is a video that I've been waiting for, in particular, for a pretty long time to make. We're actually going to be installing a Mishimoto universal oil cooler. Now, this piece has been sitting in my car for the past, I don't know, maybe a year, maybe 8 months, something like that. And I've really been itching to put this on. So especially after going to autocross this past summer and doing the rally that we did to Vermont with the custom shop, the oil temperatures were less than ideal. Now it's December in New York and we haven't really hit peak winter season really. That's gonna come in about like a month or two. But since it is pretty nice today, like this week has been very strange. It's been around like 50 degrees and it's end of December. But since it has been nice, I figured that we could throw this on just because we have some time and I think it'll be really cool. And plus I need some content. And just get a quick thumbnail picture. I'm thinking we'd use either something like that or like this. Yeah, one of those. Or I'll probably just take a shot of it when it's actually mounted up. So I actually need to charge this battery first. What I'm gonna do is slowly start to take off the bumper, and I'll meet you guys then once I have it off. So we've had the bumper off now for some time. We've kind of been mocking up the setup, so just kind of test fitting it. I got the lines here, stainless steel lines kind of running from the engine bay to the bottom where we're going to be mounting it, and I'm thinking we're going to be mounting it somewhere around here. What I really wanted to do is I popped out this front cover. Oh wait, no, actually it's on this side. I popped out this front cover because I was hoping that I could mount the oil cooler right over here, but I honestly don't see any mounting points. Like there's a lot of plastic around here, so I can't mount a piece of metal like an oil cooler to plastic because it's gonna crack and bend, and you know, it just doesn't work that way. So instead, I think we're gonna do it right over here. So I just went to the hardware store, got a couple of brackets. We got our Sawzall here because we're probably gonna have to cut them a little bit. They're definitely too long, maybe about half the size of that. They do have some pre-drilled holes. We might have to make our own holes though, but we're gonna see. And we also got some nuts and washers and things like that just to kind of mount it up. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep messing with this, mount it up, see how good it's gonna look, and see where we're gonna have to drill a couple of holes, probably like right over here on this like bottom little shelf thing over here. Also, as far as the removal of the bumper, I didn't show you guys that, but there's lots of tutorials online, so go ahead and check those out if you don't know how to remove your front bumper. That's a pretty good cut. All right, so before we cut the second bracket, we're gonna go ahead and mock it up again. So we measured, basically what I'm trying to do is put the bracket like this, so that, let me see, so that this is on the bottom, right, just like that. So it's holding in the bottom piece, right? And then the back piece over here is mounted onto the car, which is where we're gonna be drilling. So it's either gonna be this hole, or we might have to make our own hole somewhere in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and test fit this again. So we're taking our screw and washer, we're gonna go ahead and put them inside each other, pass it through the bracket, put it onto the oil cooler, pass it through the oil cooler and bracket. So that's mounted up right there, and we're gonna go ahead and take our nut and just put it into the back side of it, just to hold it into place for now, just so we can get an accurate mock-up. All right, so we got that there. Now let's see if our cut was enough. I have the feeling that we have to cut it a little bit more, but let's double check. Actually, no, that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. Actually, you know what? Nah, I think it does have to be a little bit shorter because where the hoses are going to be screwing into the top of the oil cooler, there's no clearance. It's actually hitting the bottom of the crash bar over here. So we're going to need to make it a little bit shorter just so that it goes in a little bit further in, just so that there's clearance for these. Actually, you know what? I lied, because as you guys could see here, the bracket, I could actually turn it. So I'm actually going to put it at an angle instead of putting it straight back. So when I turn it, it actually clears everything, and it's in the position that I want it to be, right over here. So I think I'm going to keep that length, and then same thing for the other side. When I go over here on this side, I'm just going to go ahead and angle the bracket inward, just like that. This actually wasn't too bad, but times like this I wish I had a grinder. I think that would have made it a lot easier. So this is some pretty fine sandpaper. We probably need a little bit more coarse one, but we're just going to try it out for now. I'm going to go ahead and smooth out some of the edges, so I'm just going to take this and basically rub it onto here, smooth them all out, and then we're going to go ahead and mock it up one more time. All right, so it looks like our brackets are just the right length, because we tilted both of them kind of inward and they both fit perfectly. There's plenty of clearance for the hoses on both sides. So what we're going to do now is I think I'm going to go ahead and take my marker and mark down on like the base of where we're going to drill these holes into. We're going to mark where the hole is going to go, and then we're going to go ahead and drill them, and then we're going to put on some Loctite on these bolts and nuts just so that they don't separate. And yeah, and then we can actually start routing the hoses. So we opted for the extra long drill bit because the crash bar is in the way over here, and we marked off our 2 holes. One's over here, one is over here, so we need that extra length. So we're gonna go ahead and see how well this drill performs. This is a pretty weak drill, so hopefully you can drill through it without like really straining it or anything, or do it in like a timely manner. So we'll see how this goes. All right, well, that's a pretty good looking hole right there. So we just got to make another one right over there where that little marker point is, and we should be good. I'm actually pretty impressed with this drill. Woo! Just to try and get you guys the best angles possible, I got the camera up on the tripod now. So we went ahead and sanded down our holes that we just made, right? So just kind of smooth them out. And let's go ahead and do another mock-up here. So we'll fit these right over here. So as you can see, the brackets, you see, I don't know if you can see it on the camera there, but they move now, right? So we didn't tighten them down all the way. So now if we line up our holes, we got one there, perfect. That's exactly how we want it to be. So we're gonna go ahead and drill, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and drill them down, basically pass our nuts through the holes there that we made, and we should be good to go. The only thing is that the backside of the screw that we're gonna pass through won't have a nut on it, so it might be kind of hard for it to stay on, but I'm gonna try and put some, I can put some Loctite on the ones that are mounted on the actual oil cooler, but the ones that are mounted onto the car, that end of the bracket, I'm not entirely sure. So we're gonna try and figure it out. We might just put screws straight through. Hopefully, if we can torque them down tight enough, they will stay. So yeah, let's go ahead and try and figure that out. Before we continue, I want to show you guys some pretty cool things to make this job a little bit more, I guess, like premium. So one thing you can pick up is right over here. Let me just get this to focus. Right there, yep. So this is basically a washer with a rubber padding on the bottom so that during vibration and things like that, and now that we're going to be mounting the bracket onto the oil cooler, this is going to muffle a lot of that vibration, so it's going to make it a lot more premium, really. Like, it's not gonna, you're not going to hear any rattling, so it's pretty cool. So definitely I recommend putting one of these on. And I think what we discussed earlier about the inside of the bracket, where it's going to go without like a nut on the bottom of it, I went ahead and found a couple of crush washers, so hopefully that'll kind of lock them into place so that they don't move, especially under load. All right, so here's the latest update. So we had to expand the holes of the bracket a little bit, because instead of going with a traditional, like, regular bolt, we had to go with a screw, because I think this is going to help a lot more when it comes to actually drilling this into the frame of the car. So we have our holes. This is going to help kind of stay in there, and we also picked up a washer for it and a couple of crush washers. Hopefully that's going to keep it in place. This hole is pretty tight, and that's kind of the idea, so it doesn't really like perfectly screw through here, and actually it's going to be pretty hard for it to do so. So that's what we want to do, just so it stays as secure as possible on the frame of the car. So I might have to actually expand this hole a little bit more, but we're going to try it out first and see if we need to. Damn, that actually mounted up perfectly. So it's pretty solid right now. I mean, it shakes a little bit, but overall not too bad. It looks like a great mounting point. Like, there's definitely going to be air going to it. So yeah, let me show you guys what exactly happened. So let me zoom in here. Yeah, so we went ahead and drilled a hole into the frame of the body. We used a screw here. This is a 14 millimeter, together with a crush washer and a regular washer, and the two brackets that we went ahead and made, or yeah, that we cut. And we also drilled into the brackets themselves, because the holes that came on them were a little bit too small. So it's honestly looking really good, but I'm going to try and get it to be a little bit more solid, because I'm not a huge fan of this, you know, a little bit of this shaking right now, because it's going to make some rattling sounds and stuff during driving, and we don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to go ahead and see what else I can do to make this a little bit more solid. You know what, I honestly don't mind this too much, because when I come over the top over here and I shake it around, it doesn't shake too much, and even if it did, like, it's not actually going to rattle up against anything. We have a lot of clearance on each side, in the front and the back, so even when I screw on the hoses, I don't think it's really going to hit up against anything. I think the only thing that will actually hit is the hoses, so we might just like zip tie them down and get a couple of specialized clamps for them. But I think as far as the oil cooler itself, I'm going to leave it the way it is, so I think it's time to fit on the hoses. You know what, I think it might have actually been easier if I fit the hoses on first and then go ahead and mount everything up. But at least now everything that's mounted up, we can go ahead and remove it and throw on the hoses the right way. Alright guys, so we went ahead and used our aluminum wrench here to go ahead and tighten this down. So Mishimoto recommends that you do use an aluminum wrench, otherwise you can damage the fittings over here. If you don't have an aluminum wrench, I suggest putting a piece of tape around, and you do the same thing. So this hose is down, now we just gotta do the other one. Hoses have been routed, so I think that should be good over there. If I need to change it up, I might have to put them like this part over the crash bar, like up over here instead, but I think it should be alright. So we're gonna go ahead and try and put on the sandwich plate now and see if we can get this going. These are the last few pieces we have left. We have the adapter here, so this basically goes underneath our stock oil filter. So this is going to adapt so that we can put the sandwich plate on. So the sandwich plate is this silver part right here. It's going to screw right onto there, and then these are the banjo bolts, so these are going to go over here so that I can angle them, and the ends of the hoses I can go right onto them. So this should look kind of like this, and we're gonna go ahead and mount up the hoses to it. First though, we have to go ahead and take off our oil filter, and I'm gonna go ahead and grab some paper towels. We're gonna get a little bit of leakage here. Oh, it actually wasn't too bad. I thought it was gonna be like a lot of it kind of leaking around. So yeah, we could actually just leave that the way it is. So we have our adapter and then the screw right over here. All right, so we went ahead and removed the oil filter, and one thing that I've been noticing that might be a bit of an issue, I'll show you guys right now. So we wiped off all the excess oil that was around here. We have our banjo bolts onto our sandwich plate, so when we put this over here, because it's kind of raised up over here on the Forester's engine on the FA20, when we go ahead and put this over, you see how it's kind of tilting a little bit? I think there should be a spacer that is supposed to, or yeah, like some sort of spacer. I mean, again, this is a universal oil cooler, but when I checked in with Mishimoto, they said that this would be everything that I would need to complete this job. So maybe they were wrong or something, or maybe this is how it's supposed to be. But basically, I take this, I put it right onto here, and it does screw on. It catches the threads of the stock oil cooler, like that's pretty solid over there. I just have to tighten it down. But it, you know, it's not fully threaded. But let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and wrench it down a little bit and see if, you know, it makes enough contact, or, you know, if it's not going to leak pretty much. That's the biggest thing that I'm worried about right now. Ooh, this is actually a pretty big one, so I don't have a wrench that's big enough, at least not right now. So let me see if maybe I can grab like some sort of like channel locks or something. It's probably going to eat up the finish over here a little bit, but let's see if that'll work. All right, so we got our channel locks over here. Let's see if this is gonna work. I don't really have much clearance to actually turn this thing. Let me see, maybe on this side. No, damn, this kind of sucks. All right, guys, it's the next day, and I didn't want to continue doing it yesterday because it was getting a little bit dark. But let me show you what's going on here right now. So we got some Teflon tape right over here just to put it around some of the threadings, because we did have a bit of a leak last night. One of the biggest reasons was because this fitting right over here, I didn't actually tighten it enough. So I started running the car and it started leaking like crazy from there. As you can see right over here, we have a pretty big oil spill. So we're actually going to be heading to Home Depot soon to get a little bit of dry lock etch. Just to kind of clean that stain up. We're going to take a wire brush and kind of just clean that up after we're done. Another issue is you can see that I'm using a breaker bar for this. I was using my torque wrench yesterday and I was only supposed to torque this to about maybe 30 foot-pounds, but it's broken, so it wasn't actually clicking. So I knew that I was definitely going past 30 foot-pounds, so I had to stop. And yeah, I'm going to go get the appropriate tool so that I can go ahead and lock it in properly and just torque everything down to the way it's supposed to be. This one's supposed to be around 30 to 35 foot-pounds if I didn't mention that already. So once we get that settled, we'll be good to go. And yeah, and then we'll just go ahead and put everything together and we'll be set. So now it's off to Home Depot. So we got all the stuff that we need. We got our torque wrench. We actually settled for a 3/8 driver, even though all of our sockets are 1/2 inch. The only reason why is because they only had Husky brand in stock, and their 1/2 inch one goes from 50 foot-pounds to 250, and we need to do about 35, so that's not going to cut it. This one goes from 20 to 100, so that works out perfectly. Let me show you guys what else we got. So we got our dry lock etch to clean up that nasty oil spill over there. So we're going to use that a little bit later once we're done with everything. And one thing that I got as a precautionary, I got an intake, not an intake, an oil filter. I know it's not the best brand. I also got this from Home Depot, but basically I got this because I'm thinking that maybe as a precaution, because this oil filter, the diameter over here is a little bit longer than the actual sandwich plate. I'm thinking that maybe that could have also caused the leak. So if that is the case, I might have to actually switch back into a more narrow oil filter, like the blue Subaru oil filter, but this will be like a temporary solution. So we're gonna test that theory. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque everything down, and if it does continue leaking from that same spot, which was right around here, then yeah, we're gonna have to probably switch over to a skinnier oil filter again. Side note too, another thing that I didn't really film, so you guys could see here that I basically cut the stock oil, I guess, like housing over here, the oil filter housing. Now the reason why I did this is because it's honestly a lot more cost effective than getting a full Mishimoto WRX oil cooler. It's gonna save you about like $300, $200 to $300, somewhere there. And the benefit of it is basically if you want to retain your stock oil cooler, which is basically this whole piece right over here, you can do that. And this is a non-thermostatic setup. Mishimoto does have a non-thermostatic setup that you can buy, and basically this thermostat would sit right on top of here. And it comes with all like the custom brackets and everything. So if you want to save time, that's definitely the route to go. But if you want to do a little bit more of like a DIY job, you do what I did and you make some custom brackets like we did over here, right over there, you can see. So you can make some custom brackets. You basically cut this a little bit just so that there is clearance for the sandwich plate. That's really the reason why I cut it. And I cut it pretty wide too so that I can actually swivel this. So depending on how I want to fit the hoses, I have a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it all together to show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so right over here between the sandwich plate and this little metal piece over here, this is where we're going to be looking to see mainly if it starts to leak, because that's where it was leaking before. So we'll see, maybe it was the Teflon tape, maybe it was the proper torque spec, could have been one or the other, or it could be the actual size of the filter, because like I said, if you look at it from the side, it does poke out a little bit from the actual sandwich plate right there. So we'll see which possibly was the problem. Just checking all the lines and stuff. We're just gonna see if anything is leaking. So this is looking all right. Right there, it's looking pretty good. So is that fitting. So all these fittings look okay. Yep, not bad. Let's check these fittings. These are looking pretty good as well. Not bad. So yeah, it's really up to just to see if this one right over here starts to leak. If it does, Then we gotta turn off the car and figure out what the problem is. All right, so we've been running the car for a couple minutes now. We have 117 degrees oil temperature, so let's go ahead and see if we have any leaks now. So the biggest area concern, like we said, was right over here, but I don't see any leakage right now, so that's good. Nothing on that side either. Let's check the fittings again. Everything's looking good there. Good there. Yeah, man, pretty solid. So I'm gonna give it a couple of revs, really get the oil kind of flowing through the system. Again, see if we have any leaks. All right, what do we got? And looking good. All right, not bad, not bad. Let me give you guys a quick overview of how it actually looks sitting back here. Look at that. That looks freaking dope. Oh my gosh. That mounting though, holy crap, I'm really proud of this. And all we had to sacrifice was a little bit of oil, but honestly that was the only setback here. Everything else went pretty smoothly. I was really lucky that I did have a grinder laying around because I don't own a grinder, but I think my dad just brought one home to like borrow from one of his friends or something, and that thing seriously cut through this metal piece over here like butter. It was like super simple. So guys, like I said, I definitely recommend this setup personally, because I like to do a lot of DIY stuff and I like to show you guys, and it's content. But I'm not sure, but if the WRX oil cooler does fit for the Forester, which I don't see why it wouldn't, that kit by Mishimoto, I definitely recommend that. It's definitely going to save you the hassle. It'll probably be like a 2 or 3 hour job as opposed to this where you have to like fabricate certain brackets and, you know, cut into your stock oil cooler, which isn't bad, but you know, it's really up to preference. Big shout out to Mishimoto. I am sponsored by them, so I do get a couple of discounts. If you guys are interested in a sponsorship, make sure to reach out to them as well. There are a couple of requirements to get sponsored, but you can talk with them and then kind of guide you through the whole process. But again, thank you so much, Mishimoto. I really appreciate all the quality parts that have been put on this car by your brand, especially the transmission cooler, because that's really been saving this car. And speaking of which, I will be making a video soon. I know this is probably like the most requested video by far, and that's basically going to be the longevity, I guess, and how the car has been doing with all these mods. So we're going to talk all about what has been done to the car exactly and why and how it's been performing. All right guys, so real cool, I got a chance to test out the oil cooler, and what it seems to do is keep the temperature at 180 or lower. The highest I've seen it go so far is 183. But as I start driving, so like for example, like if I was at a light before, it would be at 180, and then as soon as I start driving, it'll drop down to like around like 176. So that's really good, considering that when I would go under like harder driving circumstances, like when I was like either autocrossing or in the summertime where it's really hot, it would get up to around 210. The highest I've ever seen it was around 215. So if this is going to be regulating it to around around 180, that's really good. So like a 30-degree drop in oil temperature is fantastic. And another thing that's really cool too is that I've been monitoring the access port here. I mean, I always do, it's always here next to me. But as far as like feedback knock and find knock learn, there's always some sort of discrepancy there, like a little bit, especially in the feed knock category. I know that a lot of times like it could be a little bit like another sound that could be coming from the engine bay, because it is a microphone that's picking up that sound, but usually that does tend to kind of fluctuate a little bit. Ever since I put it on, this thing has not moved from 0, which is good, which I'm super proud of. So yeah, so I'd say that overall this install was a success, and it's definitely keeping our temperatures down. So yeah, if you guys like the video, please go ahead and leave a like. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care now. Peace.